Hey, didn't see you there. Well, actually I did. This is a video, and everything you're watching right now was planned weeks to months ahead. Like right now, I'm actually sitting in my first period class writing things down for something that isn't going to be shown off for weeks. Right now, you're watching all of my work put together as one thing, but making a video like this isn't as easy as you may think. To most people, making a video is just opening up your camera on your phone and just hitting record. And while that's true to the average person, opening your phone's camera and just pressing record takes a lot more work to truly turn it into an art. There's a lot that actually goes into making a truly quality video. Think of it like a machine. You have all of these parts that come together to create a desired outcome. And just like a car won't drive without an engine, a good video won't captivate your audience without all of its different pieces. So what are all of these pieces that you might need to get your video working, to make a captivating video? I don't hear you asking right now because this is a video and I can't hear you. Well, I'll tell you. You'll need an idea, a script, a camera, or some recording device, planned time, a phone, computer, some form of editing software, and sometimes you'll need props. And to keep your sanity through the hell that you're about to endure, and trust me, it is hell, you're going to need a good group of friends. Now, I could end this video right now having technically answered the question, but that wouldn't be a video that captured your attention. Just like getting a good grade in a project, a good captivating video needs good presentation. You're going to need to put in a lot of work to make a good video and turn your vision into reality. Now, let's get going to the things you're going to need to do. The video making process is something that you can really do on your own time and at your own pace. The platform of video creation is something all about creative expression, and it lets you just reach people in ways that something like a picture can't. They say that a picture says 1,000 words. Well, in this case, a video says all the words that pictures do, plus the words that you say to your audience. There are, however, some ground rules that you need that everyone has to follow in order to make their own videos. I mean, you can't edit a video if you don't have something recorded. You'll just end up staring at a black screen for a while if you did that. So, what's the first step in video creation? Well, just like everything else in the world, you need to start with an idea. So before making a video, you need to know what you want to make before you actually go out and make it. You need to have an idea. Your idea can be whatever you want it to be. Like, for instance, if you want to make a video reviewing 700 dull bananas, it's a creative idea, but it's an idea still, so you can use it. Uniqueness is a very important thing when it comes to making an idea. However, you don't need to be totally unique. For instance, we've seen the rise in TikTok over the last few years where the platform encourages trend following. But do you think of all the millions of TikToks you've scrolled through? Do you remember all of them? Obviously not. But you probably remember the general trend you've seen from people following the trend. That's why uniqueness is so important. If you're gonna put all this work into a video, you might as well make something unique that people will remember. For instance, I started out this video by rolling in on a pair of Heelys. I could have very easily just faded into me talking, but it wouldn't have been unique and it wouldn't have been something you remembered. It's little ideas like that that work together with your main idea to make a compelling video. Your main idea should be the theme and genre of your video. Let's say, for example, I wanted to make a makeup video. Okay, great, I've got my main idea, but that leads us to the next issue. There are millions of makeup videos out there. What's gonna make your video any different from all the ones out there made by people just doing makeup in their homes or being in $1 million studio with big budgets? That's where all of your little ideas come in. You need these little ideas to spice up your video and to add some pizzazz in it. I know that can sound a little hard because coming up with all these ideas can sound a little hard, but really that's one of the best things about it. That's where you get to let all of your creativity shine and just express yourself through all those little ideas that make your videos different. It's letting your personality out. All right. Now that you've come up with an idea, it's time to put your thoughts into writing. You need to come up with a script. Well, actually, you don't need to. However, if you choose to go unscripted, it can result in you getting sidetracked on stuff that doesn't capture your viewers' attention, or you can lose your train of thought mid-recording and have to cut footage out until you get what you really wanted to get down, which leads you to do more editing. To each their own if you want to make a script, but to me, scripts are mandatory. I mean, the video you're watching right now is scripted. Making a script can be difficult for multiple reasons. For one, you need to be at least a semi-competent and a writer in order to get a good script. And you also need to be good at reading your script off. If you sound like a robot when you're reading out loud, you're gonna lose people's attention really fast. Honestly, to me, scripting was one of the funnest parts of the video because it really allows you to just get what you want to make in your video down on paper so you know what you're actually wanting to do when you record. It's also really helpful in getting all the little ideas you need down to keep your viewers' attention throughout the video. After you get your script done, it's time to get all the props you need. This can be a bit annoying as, you have to spend money on props, and who likes doing that? Depending on what you make, you might need to either buy props, or you might have some already that you need, or you might just not need any at all. Props just come down to what you need for your video. If you do need props though, then make sure you manage your time and space accordingly to bring your props where you want to record. Also, consider your set to be one of the props you use, because, you know, you might have a place in mind. For example, I chose to record part of this video at Finger Lakes Mall because I like the vibe of it. And later in a bit, we're going to be going to an all-new set when we talk about recording. Actually, let's go there right now. And here's a little something cool that we'll talk about later. But for now... So, now for the fun part. It's time to actually record your video. This, like all other parts of making your video, is a really big part of creative expression, and this is arguably now the time where your creativity shines the most. Now that you've gotten everything you need to do the most important part. So to actually record your video, you need to be constantly aware of your camera and what you're doing with it. The A word is super important. When the camera's in your hand, always remember the A word, which of course is angle. You've got to get a good camera angle. Make sure to switch it up to switch to good angles that can help keep your viewer stimulated just by moving around. But if the angles aren't good, then your viewer can't really see what's going on, and you aren't going to be captivating anyone. And if you're thinking about the A word, you also need to be thinking about the F word, which obviously means focus. Cameras can get out of focus and leave you zoned in on something that doesn't really matter, while blurring out what's important of your video. So obviously this is going to be where you're using everything you worked on beforehand. You'll probably end up having to redo some scenes of your video multiple times, but that's okay, as long as you get what you want from your scene. After you're done recording and you've got all your footage, it's time to go into the most grueling part of the video, editing. There are two types of people who like editing and people who despise editing. No matter what side of the coin you fall on, editing is a necessary part of video production, and it's something that has to be done. Editing your video allows you to put all the cool effects in that you want. You can do stuff like jump from one scene to another scene that you were in a bit ago, and do just stuff like that. With editing, you can do cool stuff like this. Editing, however, can be a really hard process and is probably the most mentally taxing of the video making process. But there is a lot of ways you can go about editing. It all depends on how much you want to spend on editing software and what devices you have at your disposal. Let's say you're limited to a Chromebook, but you still need to edit your video. Though it's very much hated, WeVideo is probably the best option you have. I know some of you probably just cringed at the thought of having to use WeVideo, and believe me, I cringed while having to say it, but it's better than nothing. WeVideo gives you the basics, allowing you to splice in clips, crop part of your videos out, and just general stuff that you really can't just do in your phone's camera app, which can be super useful. But if you've only got your phone at your disposal, then I recommend using the app called VN. For being a mobile editing app, it's extremely powerful. It can let you put some crazy effects in, like this. VN gives you all the features that WeVideo does, and a bit more. So if you've got access to a phone, VN is free. So you've got access to a good piece of editing software that won't scare you away with how many options it gives you. By the way, each editing program I'm talking about was edited in said program. So the first two programs I talked about are pretty intuitive. Anyone with a basic computer knowledge can use WeVideo or VN to get the job done. But what if you want to use something with more options? For Windows users, I would definitely recommend Adobe After Effects. It's much more of a professional editing software, and you can do lots of creative things in it, but I know that what you're looking at here could be a bit of a difficult thing to try to deal with, and it can definitely cause some anxiety from not knowing what you're doing. Finally, if you're a Mac user, you're going to have the easiest time editing, because on Mac you can get all of these programs I've talked about and Apple's proprietary video editing software, Final Cut Pro. Final Cut is much easier to get used to than Adobe After Effects while still offering everything that After Effects does. Final Cut is definitely the most friendly of the advanced editing programs, and on Final Cut, you can do cool things like this. I've given it a pretty basic rundown of video editing, so to give a bit more detail, I've got some interviews with some people that know a bit more about video production than I do, so they can talk more in depth than I can. So how long have you been making videos on your own for?
I've been making videos since, 2008.
If you had to, take a guess or some form of estimate, how long do you think it takes to complete an average video for you?
Well, that depends entirely on the video. Some videos take days to make. Some videos take 2 minutes to make.
What's the longest video you've ever taken to make?
About a year ago, I blew up on YouTube with this series I made called the Mario Party DS Anti-Piracy Series, which sounds stupid, but it got me over 7 million views, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now, to answer your question, one of those videos was the finale video, which took over 2 months of filming and editing to complete. But it was worth it because I made like $1,000 off that video, so.
What interests you about making videos?
I guess I like to sort of take things and be like, I can make this do this myself. And I can like add special effects to make myself shoot lightning and thunder. And I was bullied as a child, so it really makes me feel powerful.
I'm gonna leave that in there.
You better leave that in there.
I will. What's your favorite cereal and why?
My favorite cereal? That is a good question, Colin. My favorite cereal is probably Trix. Although, I could throw a limb out for Lucky Charms.
Do you have a preference on editing software?
Final Cut Pro. Nothing else matters unless you're in college like me and they make you use other stuff. But that's not fun.
Do you think you're good at what you do?
No. I think I suck.
What would be a good piece of advice to someone who's struggling to figure out what they want to make?
You're asking me? I don't know. If you've got ideas, write them all down. Don't wait them out, sort of. Just try to act on them in the moment if you can, because you'll overthink it and then it'll be like, oh, I don't want to make this anymore. But one of my videos, I had a dream and I woke up, I was like, that was a really stupid dream. I'm gonna make that into a real thing because why not? And next thing you know, I am a popular YouTuber. So don't wait.
Editing is generally agreed to be one of the hardest parts of the video making process. What do you think about that?
I think that's true depending on what you're editing. If you're editing a 2-second meme for TikTok, it'll take you like less than a minute to make. But if you're editing like, you know, something like this where you're going like, you're making all these cuts and you're doing all these different audio effects and it's like, then that will take you a long time. This took me like 2 days.
Where do you typically get your inspiration from?
Sometimes I'll be walking down the street or I'll be driving my car and I'll think, and I'll start laughing and people will be in the car and they'll be like, why are you just laughing? And I'll be like, I just had a video idea. It really just comes to me. You know, my mind runs at like 1,000,000 miles a minute, which you might refer to as a disorder, but in fact, it's my most creative gift. But also, I will have a dream and then I will wake up and then I will act on it. So that also happens.
2 trains are leaving 2 different stations at the same time. One is traveling at 75 miles an hour and one is traveling at 85 miles an hour. What time will they meet up?
I want to say an hour and 48 minutes.
Correct. Are you proud of the things you make?
Some of them. One time I made a video where Shy Guy from Mario ate Luigi and it became very popular in dark online communities. So I'm not proud of that one.
What typically is your greatest challenge when making any video?
Ooh, finding the right footage to use. Really depends on the video style. Creatively, my mind comes up with like an animation or like a full-on made from scratch sort of thing. But I don't have drawing abilities. I'm not Jaden Animations. I don't have a crew of 40 artists to do the things. So kind of have to come up with creative ways to fill in an imagery for what I'm trying to show in video. And I found that that's usually my greatest struggle when it comes to making content, is finding the right piece of visual to toss in.
What do you find the most rewarding about video production?
It's nice when everything suddenly comes together, because you spend hours upon hours of just editing. Usually it takes me about an hour to put together about 30 seconds of final video. So once that hour is done and then I rewatch that 30-second clip and seeing everything just flow together, I think that's a nice rewarding moment.
Yeah, I get that. How do you keep yourself motivated in the production of longer videos?
Coffee, talking with other creators, taking a break, especially with the longer videos. Like currently I'm working on 2 separate projects that are going to be 30 minutes as a final video. And for both of them, I've basically been doing about, say, 2 to 3 hours a day of editing on them. So I kind of limit myself on how much I can work on them, because since they're longer projects, it's easy to burn out. So it's just chipping away a little a day. And then I usually just find other distractions. But in general, if I'm excited about the idea, it keeps me motivated in the long term. So an idea I have now, I can keep working on it for a whole month just because I'm interested in it.
Do you enjoy expressing yourself like this?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's a struggle to, express properly, but once you do get to that point, it's great. It feels awesome.
Would you rather fight 1 zombie-sized chicken or 10 chicken-sized zombies?
1 zombie-sized chicken or 10 chicken-sized zombies?
Yep.
Yo, chickens are pretty scary. And unless they're like Minecraft zombies, where the smaller they are, they run fast. I think I'll take the zombies, the 10 chicken-sized zombies.
What is your least favorite part about video production?
I'd say there's two that are kind of tied. One of them is waiting for input from other people. So like if you commission someone for art or for voice acting, and then it takes them like 2 or 3 weeks to get it done past the deadline, that kind of it gets frustrating. The other is the thing I started with, which is finding the right things to fit into the clips. Whether that's the right music or the right visual, just because the possibilities are infinite, but you have to narrow down on just the one thing you're gonna put in there.
What is your favorite part?
Favorite part of I actually really like the audio part, like the doing the voice recordings and scripting. I know that's the beginning parts of production, but for me that's the most enjoyable. So like I love writing.
I do
And
too. I
then
think you get a really big amount of creative expression, getting to think of everything.
yep.
So, that's it. Your video is done. Whether or not you choose to upload it on any platform is your choice. As some closing notes, so you might be wondering, well, you made a makeup video. What if I don't want to make a makeup video? Well, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. The process is still going to be the same thing. It all just depends on what parts you switch out. Like if you want to make a gaming video, just switch out a camera for a capture card and boom, you're all good. If you have an idea and you have the will, you have all the tools at your disposal to make any video you want. It's really easy, and now you know what to do. I mean, like, if I can do it, you can too.